What up, family? What's going on? It's your boy Kilo in the building. So look, I'm doing a little thing today called Birth of an Entrepreneur 1867 Reimagined. Alright? None of us was alive back then, so this has to be your imagination, right? But if we're real smart and we're real intelligent, so if we were to imagine it, we would imagine it in a way kind of like this. There's a guy by the name of R.PUGH Jones, right? He had a wife, her name was Jean. So R.PUGH Jones and Jean, all right? R.PUGH Jones used to work for Mr. Henry Wilkes down in Wilkes Farm down in Virginia, right? Right on the borderline of Virginia and North Carolina, right? And Mr. Henry Wilkes had this watermelon farm, man. They were known to have some of the sweetest melons in the county, right? So R.PUGH used to work for Henry. So one day R.PUGH comes to Henry and he says, "Excuse me, Mr. Wilkes, I would like to ask you a question." So Mr. Wilkes say, "What is it, R.PUGH?" So he says, "Mr. Wilkes, I would like to know if you would co-sign for me to get a piece of land. Because you know, I've been working for you for over 10 years, Mr. Wilkes, and I think that I'm pretty good now. I'm pretty handy, and I think I could possibly run a farm on my own." So Mr. Wilkes looked at him with a stern look like, "What you saying, boy?" He said, "Well, I'm just saying, Mr. Wilkes, you know, I just think that if you could co-sign for me, you know, down at that new thing they got called the bank, that I would possibly be able to get my own land and you know, do my own melons." So Mr. Wilkes said, "You know what?" He looked at him stern and said, "You niggas is some selfish son of a mitches." See, I just took the cusses out just like that. "Selfish son of a mitches. I done helped you take care of your family for X amount of years, and now you talking about you want to have your own land and do your own melons? Get off my land!" And R.PUGH Jones was like, "Oh, snap, it just got real." Now, we can imagine that being real, right? That's real. R.PUGH Jones said, "Oh, it got real." So R.PUGH Jones go home, and he go to his lady, and he said, "Honey, I've been thinking, what you think about me getting my own land and doing my own melons?" Now, you know, as a good woman, like a good woman should be, of course she gonna go through the why when you was getting paid decent money, and then she say, well, you know, she thinks about all the things that can go wrong. And so, you know, R.PUGH convinces her, of course, over a period of time, he convinces, baby, listen, you gotta believe. You gotta believe in me. This is what I've been working for that man for so many years. I think I could just do it on my own. If you just support me, I could do it. I'm telling you I could do it. I know I could do it. So she said, okay. Okay, baby. Okay, baby. You know, when the woman throw her hands up, all right, baby. You gonna do it, I'm gonna support you. Go ahead down to the bank and see what happens. So R.PUGH goes down to the bank and says, "Excuse me, sir. My name is R.PUGH Jones. I've been living in this county all my life. I'd like to get myself a loan for this land I got here. And I want to get myself some tractors. Because, see, the mules don't work like they used to work no more. So there's these new things called tractors where you can do it like 10 times faster. You know, could till the ground and all that. And I could plant more seeds. And plant more seeds, I could make more melons." And he was trying to sell himself. And the bank teller looked at him and said, "Listen, what do you have as collateral?" And he said, "Well, what's that, sir?" He said, "Well, do you have yourself a car?" "No, sir, I don't have no car." "You got yourself some horses?" "No, sir, I got no horses." "Well, you at least got a house, right?" "Yes, sir, I got the house that Master left when he went to Pennsylvania, and he moved when right after the Civil War. You know, a lot of masters moved and left houses to slaves. So I got my house the same way." He said, "Well, that's good enough. If you sign right here, I can get you that loan so you can get that tractor and you can go out there and till your land and do all the things you need to do for yourself." R.PUGH Jones said, "Awesome, this is great. I'll sign with." "How do I sign, sir?" He said, well, take this pen right here and move your hand right there, and I'm going to show you how to make yourself a J, and a P, put a P right there. That's good enough. You're good. Good enough. So he says, okay, so I can go get my tractor. Sure can, go ahead and get the tractor. Get it, start it, rock it, do it. That's our words today, but they ain't say all that. But anyway, so then he goes and he says, he start tilling his land. He start growing these melons, and the melons are, so Mr. Henry Wilkes' farm, they was known to be sweet, but now Pa Jones got even sweeter watermelons. His secret, they say don't tell you, his secret was lemon juice, vinegar, and horse pea. Now don't try that at home, okay? Lemon, vinegar, and horse pea he put on the ground prior to planting the watermelon seeds. But don't tell nobody. So these melons were so sweet, right? He go down to the fair and he set up his table and everything, and he's selling his melons, and then he look across there and he can see Mr. Wilkes with his table. And Mr. Wilkes is looking right over there too. But Mr. Wilkes got about 20 different white guys standing around him, and they all staring across. And they all looking, and he said, looking, and he's with his wife, Jean, and Jean says, boy, you need to focus on selling these watermelons. Stop worrying about Mr. Wilkes doing over there. He said, I know, but they keep staring at us. I wonder if they're going to try to do something. But sell these watermelons. Don't worry about that. Just sell these watermelons. So he keeps selling the watermelons, Everything is great. The summer was awesome. He made more money he ever made in his lifetime, right? In that one season, it was great. Boom. Now, here we go. The next season, something is wrong. See, because Mr. Wilkes only taught his workers how to plant the seeds and how to pick the melons and how to cut off this part and cut that part of the melon, and when a melon is good and when a melon is bad. But he never taught them how the melon business actually operates. You get what I'm saying? So now that the season has changed, and he also didn't tell them that there was sometimes he would freeze the melons for the off seasons. He would freeze, certain melons would get frozen or keep in a real cold place so they don't go bad as fast. So anything that Pa Jones didn't sell that season, the melons started to go bad. And he had no melons, and he couldn't grow no melons. So guess what? No melons, no money. No money, no payments. No payments, foreclosure. The banker said, hey, you missed this payment here. So therefore, we're going to have to take that house and that land of yours. He said, what you mean take my land, man? That land was passed to me. I worked for X amount of years, and my grandfather and my great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather worked on that land. What you mean you taking my land? You see that right there? The fine print. You signed this, not me. Is that not your signature, Mr. Paul Jones? Well, yeah. That is my signature, but I didn't know that it happened like this. Well, it says it right here. Can't you read? No, sir. I can't read. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is what it is. Sorry, it was good talking to you. See you later, Paul Jones. I got somebody else waiting in line. You got to go. Nice seeing you. Please do stop by and say hi sometime. Tell the wife I said hello. Right? Foreclosure. House gone. Sharecropping. Right? Okay. Now, he lost his house. He lost his business. One thing he did keep was his wife, his family, and his faith. He didn't lose his faith when he lost everything else. Now, keep in mind, he had 5 brothers. Now, one brother name was Kirkland. One brother name was Tiny, who was 375 pounds. There was another brother named Joe, another brother named Kenny, and his last brother name was Come Here. You see, his name was Come Here because when he was little, that's all he heard people say. Boy, come here. Boy, come here, boy. Come here, boy. Come here. So he thought it was his name. So everybody called him Come Here till he was grown. So now his brother Kirkland lived up in Philadelphia. He said to him, he said, Paul Jones, gather all your things, grab your wife and the kids and everything, and come on over here to Pennsylvania. When he got to Pennsylvania, Kirkland introduced him to this thing he never saw before. It was called grapes. And grapes produced this thing called wine. And in order for you to know the rest of this story, tune in next time to the Melon Man. Peace.